Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
I mean, I don't even know how to begin it. Wow. What a game. Thank you for joining. If you're joining with us right now, Oklahoma in a game where I think you're just like, thank goodness that one's over. Beats number 22 Auburn, 24-17. A lot to get to. We're going to have a special guest, someone that has, if you follow our Twitter spaces, you'll know who he is. Goes by Coach, but we'll bring him in 1 second. Man, I think at the end of the day, it's one of those games where you look at the great Alabama teams, Georgia teams. They had games like this, but you find a way to win them. I remember Auburn years back when Cam Newton then won the Natty, lost to a horrible or almost barely beat a Kentucky team that was horrible. And that's not the situation we're in now. What I'm saying is, like, sometimes you have games where it may not look perfect, but you got it done regardless. And, of course, that's what I'm excited about right now because that's what you kind of got here today at Oklahoma.
Right. No, that's for sure. I mean, we've been to countless games where the energy and weird things keep happening like it was when it was like, we're not winning this. We're not. And, they found a way. They definitely did. And I will say when they scored that touchdown at the end there, I was like, I don't know if we can do it. Like, we've been pretty stagnant, and I haven't really liked what I saw. But, we went down, we did our jobs, and got a much-needed touchdown there.
Can you text the link to them?
Yeah.
Sorry, we're just getting our people sent the link. So I guess we can start offensively. I'm trying to look at my notes real quick right here. By the way, throw a comment in. Let us know the questions y'all have. We'll kind of pick a few to go through here. One of them already said the Auburn fans are complaining about the refs. Look, to be fair, it was badly called, I think, on both sides. That was an obvious pass interference call that they missed. But here's the thing, and this is what I think they're overlooking. They scored a touchdown on that drive. That call didn't cost them a touchdown. They still scored. So in the end of the day, although you didn't get that call, which was bad, I'm not going to act like it wasn't, it's not like it cost you the game. And offensively, you went down and scored. The thing is this, and it's where you're going to have games where, excuse me, real quick, you're going to have games where you don't have it all. Do you have a guy that can get you a touchdown when you have to, when everyone knows where you're going with the ball? Do you have a dude that can get it done? And John Mateer still did it. They knew who was going to get the ball each time. They knew who was going to be leading us down, and they couldn't stop it. And for me, it was nice to see us win a game in which we obviously weren't hot offensively. We didn't have all of our juice. The offensive line needs this bye week. We need Kent State. No offense to them, but that'll be another bye week. And then you get to go into OU Texas a lot healthier than where you are now. Knock on wood. And so I think if we're just going by kind of just game by position, John played, he didn't play his best game at all. I think, if you want to knock him, you could in several ways. He missed some throws. He also hit them when you had to. So it's one of those, how much are you going after him for missing when he did?
Right.
And I was talking with T about this. He is such a timing thrower. He likes to throw to the spot you're going to be at, that when they're knocked off the route, sometimes I think the incompletion can look a little worse than what it actually is. You saw that with Kanik early when he missed him over the field. Kanik gets hit on his route and just throws the timing off, which for me is just, it's tough whenever that happens because it looks as worse than what it actually was. And
we had several drops too. Burks dropped one. Yep. Barnes dropped one. Satanga dropped one, which is another call Auburn fans want to talk about. He never caught it. He never took 2 steps. He never had possession. And we try to be very unbiased. Like, we look at things like, what would we think if this was an Oklahoma player?
Yep. That's our first question.
That's our first question every time. And sometimes we catch him flack for it because we're like,
because we're not hard enough.
Because we aren't hard enough, I guess. But that was not
homerish enough, I guess.
That was not a catch. Like, it was a tough break, but when you look at it, it just wasn't the case. And then, they mentioned like the fake sub. Satanga never subbed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he never went out of the game. You just weren't paying attention to where that guy was going. Deion Burks' job was to distract you and be talking some trash, so you weren't paying attention to Satanga. You just got outsmarted in that situation.
That was a great call. You Belichick vibes in the NFL.
You just fell. You literally fell for the gimmick. That's just really what that was there. And we had Armist and Thomas out the first half. Made a big difference if you couldn't tell. Not that our defense wasn't great, but there's just a different energy when you have a guy like that on the field. His first series out there, he gets a sack on Arnold on 3rd down. He's the one who forces the safety at the end. Like, he's just a dog, and I don't know. Like,
this guy commented, "I'm stupid." I said wrong. I love doing that so much to people. Just not even giving them the time of day.
Right.
Here's the thing. Auburn could have won the game. They had all the chance and opportunity to. We're just better on defense, and we made the plays that they didn't. And you can say whatever you want about penalties, about whatever. They missed clear holdings on Marvin Jones Jr. when he's coming around the edge. They almost took his neck off. It's like a guillotine. They didn't call that. You scored a touchdown on the drive, buddy. Sorry. You got the lead. You did exactly what that penalty PI call would have given you regardless.
Right. And then the PI that they called, they're both holding each other's jerseys. Like it's a football play. And then, not to mention, a false start actually helped them.
Right.
Which, I mean, I didn't see the false start, but maybe there was because it was called very, very late.
Now, I want to bring in, because the defense obviously is the star of this game for us. I told Auburn fans all week, you won't see a defense better than ours. Jackson Arnold ran it 21 times for negative 11 yards. We're just that good. And you saw with R. Mason Thomas what a legitimate NFL first-round caliber defensive end does. Our defense played well without him, but when he is for sure our leader on that side of the ball. I think you saw an obvious tick in intensity. And I think no one better to talk about that than someone who, for my money, has the best mind on the defensive side. 30 years coaching it, making his first time on screen, live. My father. Oh, you got to scoot in here, Dad. Coach, or I'll scoot back. How about this? We'll do that. Boom.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There we go.
Boom.
He's gonna need a mic.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'll hand it to you back. Dad, how did you feel about the defense? Well, first off, game overall. It's one of those games where, sorry, that was the computer for all those that want to clip that. Scoot in some tea.
Sorry.
For all those that might say, hey, no, again, another game, no turn. Just getting a little bit. Another game, no turnovers. The defense is obviously good, but you're not getting the turnovers you want. You saw too early they could have had. What are your thoughts on the game overall, and just kind of how the defense played and closed it out there?
I thought the defense did great. They're so aggressive up front. The 4D line inside just dominate the game. And, if we ever learn how to catch the ball in the back end, the game's over. Because I said if we had 2 turnovers, we'd beat them like 28, or more points.
Wanted to say, you called the exact score. You said 24-17 if we don't have turnovers.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be a close game because I know the defense on Auburn was really good. And they proved it today. And I thought Jackson Arnold played pretty good, better than I thought he was going to play. He had composure. He did some good things. But our defense, man, they just smothered him up. They had one long run with just some missed tackles that happened against Michigan. At least it wasn't a touchdown. But R. Mason Thomas he's a difference maker. But the other 2 ends really played well, and they gave him problems all game long. And we contained Jackson. He was gaining 100 yards a game. I mean, he was really running the ball well, and we kept him from doing that, and we made him win other ways. The only guy that gave us problems, I thought, was number 8, when he's going to give everybody problems.
Yeah, he's good.
Cam Coleman, absolute freak.
Yeah, he is, and they went to him when they needed to. And, it's smart football. When you're 3rd and long or 4th and long, you throw that pass and hope to get the pass interference, and they got it twice. And the last one was not pass interference. And I'm not a homer. It just wasn't.
It would almost seem like they were ready to throw that flag to make up for the one they missed on the tackle.
Yes, it was. It was terrible.
I will say he,
ahead,
talked about, Jackson Arnold played better. This is a woulda, coulda, shoulda. The 2 times we should have had interceptions, I would have liked to have seen how he would have played had we gotten those.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, I would have liked to see, would he have bounced back? Would he still have played so aggressively? Like, that would have been interesting to see.
It would have
changed.
Yeah,
for the game, which we should have caught them. But
that's exactly right.
I just would like to know, like, if he does throw any picks later in the year, like, what's his mindset going to be?
Well, you noticed early in the game, he did force some stuff and threw some bad passes, and because he knew he was getting the pressure. But I think he gained a little confidence later in the game and played a little bit better. But other than that, my gosh, every time Stone comes in the game, I get excited because he's such a difference maker. And I talked about this on our Spaces Tuesday night, that it makes a difference when you have the pluggers come in and they start, and you have the quick guys that come in, and it changes what those offensive line are used to. And you've seen it in every game. He's made a couple of big plays. And I think late, I noticed him kind of limping coming in and off the field, and I thought he was a little bit banged up there at the end. But my gosh, we have a great defense, and I'm encouraged about how our quarterback makes us better He leads the team, and there at the end, what a great drive that he put together and ended up and scoring that touchdown. And that's because of his leadership, and then everybody else, because he had some guys up front that aren't usually don't play, and he had to get all those guys together, and he made it happen. And I'm just tickled to death that we're lucky to have him.
Then that seems to be a skill in and of itself. Like winners win. It's one of my first bosses told me that. Brent Adams at Country. I mean, he goes, winners win in business, whatever it is. And it seems like he's another guy that just for whatever reason can figure out how to get it done. There's one quarter that one team scored double-digit points. OU does it in the fourth. They score 11, and it's one of those. Obviously, you were helped by the safety, but it's one of those that he knew he had to have it, and he did it. And Auburn couldn't stop him. He had some good timely third down pickups. That ball, I know the Satanga catch was great. That ball he threw him was a dot. You could not have. I mean, it was a 30-yard handoff. I mean, he puts it right in the bread basket. I want to point out something
else on defense because I know everybody was talking about Cortland Guillory being on Cam Coleman. Well, again, like we mentioned, that's a true freshman on an NFL first-round draft.
Look, you're going to get got.
But here, let's listen to this. He had only 3 receptions.
Yeah,
Cam Coleman, and for 88 yards. I mean, that's a good game. But to me, you Auburn fans, blame the refs all you want. Blame your coach Hugh Freeze for not going to him as much as you could until you stopped him.
Dad, maybe.
But Guillory to me, he did a good job in our defense overall. But it was clear that there was a mismatch, and the fact that you didn't exploit it to the maximum piece of your ability. Now, granted, too, when we started getting pressure on Jackson, can you get it there? But that's just where I don't feel like they went to him nearly enough. But I'm glad they didn't.
I kept thinking they were going to because Chad and I looking at each other, going to throw the 8 right here.
Right.
And they did, and we stopped them. Going, what are y'all doing?
I was listening to BV in the post game, and I want to ask a couple questions for you real quick. But after this, I want to get some comments just before I get to what BV said, and then I want to ask my dad a couple questions on the defense. Jared Todd just says, "Hey guys, what's up, Jared?" Unofficial Jethro says, "Hey coach, what's up?" And someone says, "Guillory, please forgive the spelling, but I felt like that was mismatched, that they should have changed early. They schooled us on that route." OU Worsey, baby. What's up, Coach Paul?
How you doing, Worsey?
Shout out to RP and everyone else listening if they are. All right. Jethro has a question here. He goes, "My question is, why were we trying to establish the run game when it wasn't working and we were moving the sticks by throwing? We need to be up a touchdown or two before we reinvent the running game. I think we got lucky with the refs on some calls. I think we looked great in a lot of ways, but we were sloppy at the same time." What do you think?
Well, I think sometimes you always try to establish the run game. And there was a couple of times that I thought we had it blocked up and we just missed it. The running back just missed it.
Gabe made that point on radio a couple times.
Yeah, and I saw that too. And the dynamics of the run, but you just take what they give you. And after a while, we just said, okay, we can't run the ball, so we're just going to throw the ball. And we dinked them, got underneath stuff, and that's all we needed to do. And it all worked out for us. And that's because your offensive coordinator's smart. He's going, okay, we can't run the ball. We don't have time to throw it deep, so let's just throw all this underneath stuff. And it worked out for us. And we were just moving the ball down the field, and finally we go in and score with Matera there at the end. So smart.
When do we need to worry about the lack of turnovers, or do you think we're getting the pressure? We just got to catch the ball, or what is your opinion on that?
Well, if you look back at all the games, we should probably have 5 turnovers. I mean, legit 5 turnovers, and that's where we missed the fumbles, and we just didn't catch the ball. The old funny thing is that's why you play DB is because you can't catch. That's why you're not the receiver.
Peyton Bowen almost proved that, correct?
Yeah, but we had guys last year that did make interceptions. But I'll take the defense this year over last year. Yeah. I think they're a whole lot better. It's gonna come. It's gonna happen. And when that does, that's when we're really gonna put it on people.
Well, like we mentioned in our podcast, no, they're not getting turnovers, but there's several times they're getting 3 and outs.
Yes.
And then the offense isn't, especially in that second quarter, they were getting 3 and out, and was giving our offense a chance to just break the game wide open, and the offense wasn't executing. So a 3 and out is almost, quote unquote, as good as a turnover. Now, granted, obviously it's not because of where the ball's going to be placed, but they gave you opportunity after opportunity. Yes. And if you're going 3 and out, there's not a lot of opportunities to get turnovers.
Right.
I'll tell you what, our special teams won the game too, because we got the punt. Remember,
our punter,
and our punter is outstanding, and field position was big, and he made some great punts. And the guy, that's where we scored. When
our kicker made 3 for 3.
Yeah. And so that's that special teams is a big deal, and we're good at it. I think we're really good at special teams.
Want to mention, Stacey, thank you for, as always, share or subscribe, share, and comment. Appreciate it. Jay, so this is something I heard. So the Crane and Co. brothers, or the Crane and Co. show, tagged me again on their reaction, and they mentioned this on their reaction that they're Auburn fans, so they are, and they say they're biased because they're Auburn fans, right. But they did feel like Auburn lost this game more than OU won it. Now I don't know if I agree or not, but again, Jay doesn't miss Cam Coleman wide open in the corner, overthrown by an inch. That's a touchdown for them. He missed him. He underthrows him a couple times when he has our guys beat deep. Yeah. I'm the only reason why I have cause to pause on just how excited I am for our season is that, you're going to have other guys that are not as good as him. We won't face another receiving core like that. Alabama will be the closest, in my opinion, with Ryan Williams. There is some worry where it's like, man, you could have lost this game. But it's again, and Marcus Bowden makes this comment here about, I think we need a game like this. I agree. You have a game where maybe you did make some mistakes on both sides. You obviously didn't have your A game on offense, but you come away with a win where I think in years past, OU teams lose this kind of game. Right. And now you're mad about how you played and you took a loss doing it.
Also, both teams can be mad about how they played. It's not like it's not like Auburn played like trash and Oklahoma just played this phenomenal game. No, Oklahoma made a lot of errors as well. There were a lot of missed calls for Oklahoma. There were a lot of missed calls for Auburn. The refs, they made themselves way too prominent in this game.
I'm going to plug in my charger. My dad's going to
try to be way too much main characters, but neither team can probably hang their hat and say we played the best we could play. Exactly. But at the end of the day, Oklahoma did enough to get the win. Exactly. And that's good for us.
Well, I talked about our DBs in the past. I've been watching the film, and I always said that the back end is where our problem is getting adjusted and getting lined up. I thought we did better, but I won't know that till I watch film. It's always coaches say, it looks great on game day till you watch film and it's not that great, and you learn from it. I thought they got better at that because I was really looking at their alignments today, and I thought they lined up a lot better than they have in the past. But it kind of showed a little bit, of people that were open. But you know what? Good football teams, that stuff happens. And you know why Jackson Arnold overthrew him? Because he got pressure. So you got to, he was open, but there's pressure. The trick play, there was some pressure there too, so he didn't get to make the good throw. So it all evens out when you look at that.
Talking about going back to Michigan when John Mateer barely overthrew Canick. Exactly. He has a guy right in his face and almost hits it. Yeah,
that makes a difference.
Yeah, there are some plays where it seems like our defense is all on cue, and then it seems still like they're getting in the call late with Bowen. But I think that BV likes to get the call in as late as he can because you don't have they get a better fit for what they think the play is going to be. It seems like they're still having one bust on the run game. Again, they stuffed them all game, and that 150-yard burst is going to skew the stats so much. It doesn't really reflect how dominant they were in the run defense.
No, it's an anomaly.
How good?
It really is.
Tell me.
I mean, they were negative yardage till then.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've watched OU. For those that know, he coached in the 90s at Oklahoma. He's a DC at several different places. Is this the depth and the skill of our defensive line right now and our ends, really? I mean, the whole defense. When's the last time you've seen a defensive side of the ball at OU that's that stacked with talent? Because they have legit guys that will have NFL either contracts or drafted at every level, I feel like.
I went back and looked. I went back and looked even in the 90s because we had some NFL guys. We had a lot of NFL guys in 91 for sure, but not to this extent. So I went from 90 to all the way to 25. There is not a defensive line that is like this one, that has the depth and that are skilled. And you can lose one and you just replace him. We've not had that. We've had a lot of NFL guys, don't get me wrong, but the guys behind them weren't near.
Because I went and watched the 2008 National Championship because I'm a masochist and I like suffering. And Gerald McCoy was awesome. Well, yeah. They had a lot of guys that were awesome, but behind them was a drop off. And it seems like now it's like, man, and when Stone and Jaden Jackson are together, but I think they complement the other guys so well. They split them up for that reason. Yes. But when they're out there together, it's almost unfair, legitimate. And what's crazy, they have a whole nother year they have to play. They're going to have a whole other offseason, a whole other year of football. It's pretty scary. For me, it's like when they figure out the offense, assuming they can, and I do think they will. There's a comment about, why the run game didn't work. We had 3 starting offensive linemen hurt, and that matters because you're not getting a push up front. And also, they're good up front. Auburn is, and I think the more that they get a gel, they have a bye week. It's all going to be practice. the more you're going to see them play, continue to improve on the run game.
Bye week and then Kent.
And then Kent State. And you're going to get Giovanni Gibson back at Kent State. You're getting Eli Bowen back at Kent State. Giovanni Gibson might play 85 snaps.
Yeah.
He might play every single snap in the Kent State game. So you're picking up some weapons that are going to be really, really helpful on the offensive side of the ball. And they're already and defense, yeah. And they're already pretty stacked, you know, on offense. I mean, they got some talent there.
Well, when I looked at the schedule, I thought it was set up perfect for us because we're getting a week off. We're getting really another week off. We play Texas. We're going to beat Texas. The game that scares me is South Carolina. And every game that's after Texas is always a scary game. So I always thought that was a game that might get us if the quarterback's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to come back. But,
we can check right now if he's playing.
But if he's playing,
he's
really good. And that was my ball. I really think when we play Texas, Archie's not a run threat like
Lenore Sellers is playing.
Not at all. So I think they're going to have a problem moving the football against us, and I think our offense with them being healthy and everything, there's going to be a problem for Texas.
Well, now hold on, guys. Arch is 12 for 15 against Sam Houston State with a touchdown, so he might win the Heisman again. I just these people are just.
So speaking of which, there was a Texas fan.
Yeah.
At our game, like in a Texas jersey, and like was walking down, and of course, fans are giving him crap. And I jokingly looked at Chad. I was like, he just wants to see a game or two, quarterbacks actually know what they're doing.
That was pretty good. She did. That was pretty good.
He wants to watch.
He was super nice. He wasn't talking. He was super nice. He was good.
I remember exactly.
That was funny. He was good.
He was a good sport about it. I mean, everyone was just. Funny. I mean, it was friendly banter. Nobody was like bowing up to him or anything. So
it was all
nobody
good.
take this as if we were like sending threats his way or something.
I think OU fans are pretty well. Most part, pretty well mannered towards the opposing teams. Everybody talks about it. It was different. I thought there'd be more Auburn fans than there were.
I did too.
Because when we went to the Michigan game, I was looking around. Michigan's was everywhere, and Tennessee was the same way last year. There's a lot of people there. So
it's hard to tell with Alabama. They're also
shout out to Bradley if he's listening. He made that exact point on the walk back to the car. He's like, man, I feel like there weren't that many Auburn fans.
Well, but when the game started, I looked at Derek. Derek's my brother, for those of you who don't know, and I said, I'm surprised there's not more. I was like, I thought they would have traveled better.
I did too.
And because the section, like what is reserved for them, like wasn't full. Normally, where my best friend sits, there's a ton of opposing fans, and there weren't any. And just looking throughout the stadium, granted, there just wasn't that many pockets. So it was just interesting. It was
different. I'm glad. I thought our fans really did well when they were on offense. We got loud, and especially there at the end of the game, it was deafening. I know it was for them because it's the worst place to be with the football is down there on the north end because it's all circled in and everybody was yelling, and I think they had a really hard time communicating.
Now, let me ask a dumb question. I've never been an offensive coordinator, right? Though I think, I've been pretty good on NCAA. But I'm also I know. If I have a guy that can't be guarded, I feel like it's a common sense thing to just give him the ball a lot until you start rolling safeties over the top and you take people. There is no world in which Cam Coleman is, and I know we probably had some drops. Like there were times they went after him. There's just no world in which I'm just not throwing it up there and saying, hey, you're better than everybody that's guarding you. Look, Cortland Guillory's a really talented player. He's going to be very good. He went up maybe against the best receiver in college football. Jeremiah Smith and Cam Coleman are 1A, 1B. I mean, it just depends on what you like more. How do you not now Cortland Guillory to hit I don't.
Cam bigger than Jeremiah Smith?
Jeremiah Smith's like 6'3", 220, 230. He's a big.
Like 6'6".
Yeah, he's a tall guy. He's like 6'5". But to be fair, Gentry Williams did tackle him in the end zone that one play, and it wasn't called. Now, Cortland Guillory had good coverage on the touchdown throw. It was to Jackson Arnold's credit, and we said it before. Jackson Arnold's a dog. He has dog in it. He is not. He's tough. He's not now he gets happy feet in the pocket and can hold the ball and pat it, but he is not afraid of contact. And that pass he threw. But a good offense will beat good defense. It's impossible to guard that. So am I just not seeing it? Did they try to go after him enough? It seemed to me like I just don't get how you only give him three catches there, or how he ends up with that.
There was times when I couldn't believe they didn't throw it to Nick Saban says, "What do you do? What's your game plan? You give it to your best players." I said it's pretty simple. Yeah, and that's what he did at Alabama, and I was shocked that he didn't go to him more, especially when you're 2nd and 1 or 2nd and 2. You're always going to throw the football. You usually throw it, and I would have thrown it to him because that guy's a dog, man.
Denver hates a problem.
Yeah, I don't care who's guarding him because he's really good. He's an NFL guy, man, and make a lot of money.
Well, just to your point, I was listening to BV at postgame, and they mentioned like, hey, coach, obviously Cortland went up against a really good receiver today. What did you think of that? And is that not turned on?
You got a text that says have Chad look at his phone.
It should be. Oh, now we're good. My phone wasn't charging. Sorry, BV had mentioned that Cortland Guillory went up against Cam. He's like, "How do you think he did?" He goes, "Yeah, obviously, you go up against those guys. It's he got thrown in the deep end a little bit. You get a look at what they look like at that level." He goes, luckily for him, he's not going to face many that at that level. But he goes, "I thought he made some good plays. Obviously, he got a couple times. A couple of those will want back. Obviously, and he did say, he goes, coaches can help him. Coach, give me a safety over the top. Don't just leave me on an island with this guy." And he's like, we tried that. They were trying to late in the game, and I thought they would do it. And maybe Jackson saw it, and to his credit, he needs to be credited. I thought that they were later in the game going to make it look like it was one-on-one. And how they'll put like 8 guys up on the line where it looks like there's no safety. And I thought they were going to run Spears-Jennings deep. And then Jackson would see it pre-snap and just throw a floater. And I thought it would be an easy interception, assuming they catch it, which they struggle doing. And to Jackson's credit, and maybe they didn't do it and he didn't see it, but it never happened. And it was one of those, I was like, man, it's setting up perfect if he thinks he has one-on-one out there and just to throw it and us to get an easy pick.
Yeah, I think and also we talked about the last time the game he played, I think it was South Alabama, he had 4.5 seconds to throw, and he connected. And he had a few of those today that they were going to block it up and give him some time. And when you got 2 guys that are running routes that are NFL guys, it's tough to stay on them. They'll get open after a while.
Friend of the show, personal friend, Brad asked Paul or Coach why you don't put a safety shaded toward Coleman instead of having a corner on an island. Is that kind of what we just kind of talked over there?
Yeah, but there was a couple of times they did they call it bracketing, and they bracketed him, and Arnold was trying to throw to him and he couldn't, and then he got sacked because they did a really good job of that. They didn't do it a lot. BV just has a philosophy, and he's going to stay with it, and I think it works. I understand that some of those calls come in. Like when I was on the sideline calling defense, I did the same thing because you really want to know and you really want to get your kids in the right position and to be successful, and you don't want to be outflanked by the offense because they're really good at it and they can get you outflanked real quick. And so you want to get into the right call, and so you make your calls easy. They're easy for them to understand, but they got to all look over and see it and communicate it, and you kind of see that happening during the game. Mm-hmm. And some of us get frustrated, and I think there was 2 snaps I saw that we were really ready to go, but it didn't cause us to for them to get a first down or get a big play, and it worried me a couple of times, but. He's really good at it, man. I mean, it's fun to watch our defense. They fly to the football. They're fast to the football. Even when they get, a pass out to the flats, there's 3 or 4 guys that are there really quick. So, that bodes well for us.
They are. I think the speed is what people don't realize we have. Yeah. Kip Lewis had some runs. Well, and there was David Stone has speed that he caught Jackson Arnold almost out of there was that run when they were backed up before we got the safety, and Jackson evades Taylor Wine off the edge. And if David Stone doesn't turn to make the tackle, Jackson has like 20 yards in front of him. Well, they cleared out.
Running back, when he's running that long run, guess who ran him down?
R. Mason Thomas.
The guy missed him and got up and ran him down.
And I'll tell you what, scouts do that, and that's R. Mason made some money.
He made some money today.
It's called a money game today.
He made some money in only a half of playing.
Yeah,
I'll make sure you don't.
Isn't that crazy?
You may not. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, the fact him coming out of there and getting the sack as fast as he did was almost like a movie, and then getting it to end the game. You start the half, you end the half.
Well, we had great coverage in the back end that caused that sack because it took him a little while to get there, but he didn't have anywhere to throw it. We had him all covered up, and man, he came blazing through. And the last sack for the safety, I don't know if I've ever seen
like
anybody
2 people for that.
Yeah, he did. They tried to double him, and he just ran him right over. And that tackle was running off the field. He was clapping his legs because he knew he caused the safety. He couldn't do anything about it.
It's just that it's like when you see someone just better. I'm sorry. I just had nothing for you.
Here's the thing that, like you mentioned it too, that offensive line is a dang good offensive line.
They were regarded as one of the best in the country coming in, and you set a school record for sacks on them. I mean, I say what you will.
10,
I don't now. Jackson does hold on to the ball a little bit. It's if it's not off his first.
But we went on like a lull with them for a while. So we got like 6 or 7 of those in the first half, and then because somebody had mentioned when I said like we have to get pressure on Jackson, this was like in the 3rd and 4th. They're like, well, don't y'all have like this many 8 sacks? I'm like, yeah, 6 or 7 of those were in the first half. Yeah. We've let up essentially after the R. Mason Thomas on their very first series of the 3rd quarter. Mm-hmm. We weren't attacking them the way that we were. And then we ended the game how we started the game with actually getting the pressure, and we saw what happened.
I thought they set themselves to give him more time. They brought more people in to help block, and I think that's what made a little bit of a difference. And then the coach, I think, had some more dink balls that he threw that really help. Help Jackson there at the end, and it just kind of frustrates us. But and he did a good job. Is for what was it, 4th and 20 or something? He runs for
4th and 11.
Led the country.
11, yeah. I was like, golly, I can't believe that happened. But stuff like that happens, and he's a good athlete.
He led the country in quarterback tackles evaded, by Pro Football Focus, and he did it today. I mean, we saw it last year. He's athletic. I mean, he did it to Bama's defender. I mean, like
he's a tough kid, man.
He competes. The one thing you can't take from him, there's a lot of criticisms. One thing you can't say is he's not a competitor. The dude competes his butt off.
Well, doesn't everybody blame the quarterback for every problem that happens on offense? And it wasn't all his fault. The guy, BB in the press conference mentioned how great his parents were, how he's a 5-star guy. He just needed him. They wanted to keep him here, but he felt like he needed to move on. It was probably best for him. And, if you're truly love football players and stuff, you want him to be successful because he's a good kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. Stacy mentioned, I wondered what R. Mason Thomas would have done if it had been the first half. He came in with fire in his bones. He said, "Watch me show out." Mm-hmm. That had to be that first sack that left tackle gave up. Had to think like, "Oh no, I got 2 more quarters of this," because he knocks him off. He does a good job. If Jackson gets rid of the ball, it's not a sack, but he doesn't get up. He plants and off of 1 foot just hops and gets around him again and gets the sack on Jackson on that first drive. And he had to be thinking like, "What is that?" Like,
I gave Jackson Arnold credit for that one because I looked at Chad. I said, you know what? A year ago, that's a fumble for Jackson.
Yeah,
like he gets hit like that and he's fumbling it and he protected the ball. I was like, so I mean, I'm gonna give him a shout out for that one because that's not that's
when
a
they watched
stuff
film,
that
they matched him up with that tackle. Because he plays both sides. They kind of match him around like Parsons for the Packers. But he's kind of reminds me of that guy. But my gosh,
my goodness.
He just you find the worst tackle and you put him over him and good luck. You're going to have to help him.
Jethro said David Stone for the win today. He was a beast. Yeah, David Stone showing why he was a 5-star kid and why it was so important to keep him over the. Remember, he almost he entered the portal. Quote unquote entered the portal, and they had to work out his NIL. But I think you saw why it was so important to keep that guy in. They're just so solid up front right now. It is. If they figure out the offense, I said this, and tell me if you agree. I mean, and it might be just preaching to the choir, but. I'm trying to be honest, and my friends that are listening, I'm about as objective an OU fan as you. Like, I will try to be. If we're not good at something, I try to at least call it right. Especially when it comes to like penalties and whatnot. I don't know if we could figure out on offense if we just get to where we're not beating ourselves. Because today again, I felt like we beat ourselves a lot of ways. You fumble a play action handoff. That's middle school, 5th grade, learning how to do a mesh concept.
Not in your own territory.
The mesh point. You just shouldn't do that. And we're just doing it in the middle of in a big game.
When we're getting whatever we wanted to go up by 2 scores. That was very huge.
And if you can just figure that out, I can't tell you a team that I just think is better. Maybe Miami, but also I don't know. Like Miami, I just don't until they play a defense that's just at that level of ours. Or I do think the SEC is stacked defensively. Now Florida, I think, has a good defense, but they're so bad on offense. It's like I just don't know a team I would say objectively is just better, especially in the SEC. I don't see it.
I don't see.
I mean, Tennessee and Georgia look pretty good.
When you fumble the ball, if you just hand it off, we're running to the, where we score.
Yeah,
I mean that was all blocked up.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought our offense was getting better and better and better. And you can make excuses all you want, but when you have 3 offensive linemen out and your starters are gone, it makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. And that's what hurt our running game.
Everything starts up front.
Yeah, it does start up front. It does.
Everything, and here's the thing: at the end of the day, you win. You always take it, no matter how it looks. You'd rather make the corrections after a win than you lose a game like this, and you're mad, and then you got the loss as well. Winning ugly is a sign of championship team. Yeah, I agree. Defense, we're the stars of the game with 10 sacks, being able to contain the run game, but we have to get better in the secondary when it comes to big plays. That's almost a quote of what you were talking about.
Yeah, and I can't wait to watch film to look at the back end to see how we, what kind of amazed me. I thought the Hugh Freeze would do more on offense to try to get us into a bad situation in the back end. he never did that, and he's been known for trick plays and for all kinds of stuff, and he didn't really do that today like he has in the past. I didn't see a lot of motion out of him. I thought he was going to do all that because it was giving us problems, and he really never did that, and I was shocked that he did. And I don't know if that may be because of Jackson. It's limited, and they want him to be successful if they're just giving him what he can do well, and he did it well today. And but other than that, it made it more simple for us in the back end to get lined up, and those players sometimes get open because they're good. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think encouraging for Oklahoma is that you did hold a guy that was leading the conference in quarterback rushing to negative rushing yards this game, and you give him 21 attempts to do it. Now sack yardage obviously takes away, which really I hate that it does because it's not, you didn't run it. I don't know. I wish, but I get it. So technically he probably was positive in terms of actual runs he made, but you contained him as well as you could, and you're not really going to face a guy. Now Ole Miss has a dude, that Trinidad Chambliss. If he's still the quarterback, go watch his film. He's the first quarterback I've ever seen that's comparable to what Kyler could move like. Doesn't have the arm Kyler does, but he is, and he's not their starter for a reason, I'm sure. But he came in because their quarterback got hurt. He's the only guy where it's like that's worrisome because he can straight move, and he threw for 400 against Arkansas. Now it's Arkansas. It's not the greatest defense. That was last week, but he moved. He looks impressive. Won a D2 national championship last year, I think. They're Division I AA, one of them. I don't know, but that's the only other quarterback I can see. And Arch Manning doesn't run like Jackson does. Jackson's an athlete, man. Yeah, he can move.
He's a good player, man. He's, you and I always battled for him last year, and everybody's giving him a hard time, and it wasn't his fault. I'm just telling you, he's got all the tools. He can run, he can throw, and he's just going to get better. And he's going to be a problem by the end of the year if they can keep their team together.
Yeah. Someone mentioned up here, and I think it's a good segue to just this question real quick. They said, do you guys think Auburn is, again, unofficial Jethro? Thanks for hopping in the chat so much, man. We appreciate it. Do you think Auburn ranked at 22 is fair? It seems that they are maybe better than that. I think they are. They are. And I think they're going to have big time games. They're going to play a schedule that is not the hardest, but they'll have good opponents in there, and they'll bump. I think they're going to upset a lot of teams. I think that's going to be a really good looking win, along with the Michigan win at the end of this season. Yes. And you keep looking at how these wins kind of play towards the playoff, and you got to have them. And at the end of the day, your job is to impress the 12-member committee that's going to be picking this stuff. And these wins that you're getting early on teams that might not have figured it out completely are just they're going to be. It's like with everything. You look back, no one really looks back at it. Last year, Michigan was terrible. They couldn't throw a forward pass. Right. And everyone talked about how good the Michigan win was for Texas at the end of that year. Because, look, Michigan beat Ohio State and Michigan beat Alabama. And it's like, yeah, but that wasn't the Michigan team. But it goes to the point that they don't care what they look like now versus at the end of the year. And for me, I think it's just another way that you kind of help your case whenever the playoffs come around and the committee's picking.
I will say I do think Auburn is probably ranked too low, honestly.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're pretty good. I think they're a good team. And Baylor looked pretty good against them too. That Sawyer Robinson quarterback, that dude can play.
They couldn't stop Arnold.
No, they could.
Yeah, we had 7 sacks before today. And
practice field and clean up some mental mistakes. Right. Yeah. Where do we rank after today with all the other games? I haven't checked them. I'm not sure if anyone ranked in front of us. I think we're probably 10. I think we move up for sure in the top 10 after beating a ranked team like that.
I would think so.
Well, that depends if everyone actually watched the game that's voting and didn't just assume teams won or lost based off their name. But apparently they have a problem doing it.
Every game we play is going to be like this. We just got to win them.
Renee, thanks for bringing this up.
Illinois is getting their butt kicked, and they're 9 right now, so they're ahead of us.
All right, so we're 10.
So,
are they really?
Getting beat by Indiana by it was 38-10.
Oh, I picked Indiana.
I did too.
That's a good pick.
But Texas winning, Florida State winning, Oregon's winning, Georgia's winning, Miami's winning, LSU winning.
Penn State,
probably
I don't think's
winning.
playing.
What big game is
and then
Texas
Ohio
winning?
State, I don't know if they're playing either.
Sam Houston. Dad.
Well, I'm sorry, but
Sam Houston is who they're playing, which apparently has a football team.
Hey,
no, Sam Houston
let
does.
them come on in and let's do the Texas game and let's see how that plays
out. Real quick, I wanted to ask you. Oh gosh, I wanted to mention this
Texas
stat right
A&M
here.
is on a bye week. They play Auburn next week.
Gotcha. Well, there you go. Auburn can play Texas A&M. Was it at Auburn?
It's
is it
at
between
A&M.
the hedges? They're going to be, but again, Auburn's going to be a problem because they're physical up front, and when you have a guy like it's just you can never count them out.
No.
Now, what's scary is Texas A&M has a lot of dudes too, and they're starting to figure it out, and that's not
Penn
good.
State's on a bye.
Renee Weaver mentioned this stat, and I wanted to mention it too. And thanks for bringing this up.
So Illinois Illinois losing, if they continue to lose, which they're getting smacked around, you would think.
Yeah, we'll be like 10th. We'll be 10th, 9th, somewhere around there. Renee said we had 7 sacks before today and 10 for today. Yep, so now we're up to 17 total. Auburn had given up 6 sacks all year before today. They give up 10, so you almost double on their total season sacks in one game. It was a good game. Double. Well, they doubled 12. They gave up 6 all year.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I almost dubbed.
And I was taking it as like you doubled it.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I get what you're saying
we always want to give out a shout out to Bishop Frank. Thank you, man. Sooners faith work fire. Yep. Tested built. That's a special ops power line. They did play well, which was awesome to see. Yeah, set a school record 10 sacks today. It seems like, though, the mistakes on the back end, it's not an athlete. What's encouraging, I think, is it's not an issue of having the athlete. It's just a mental thing, right?
Yeah, it's just getting lined up. And I thought they got lined up a lot better this time because they didn't get the motions and this. I know they move their tight ends and stuff around, but that's not what gets you in trouble. It's all that motion stuff. Because they'll play zone on one side, man on the other, and they'll motion, and they don't get out of the zone, and they leave somebody wide open. And that's happened the last couple of games. So I figured they'd have that fixed. Well, they never had to fix it because they never saw it. So I was kind of shocked they didn't see that. But the back end was my worry. The front seven I've not been worried about. Is the back end's the hardest place to play, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, those athletes that are catching the ball and they back shoulder that stuff, and you get called for pass interference all the time when it's really not. And so you just gotta, as a corner, you just gotta play you just gotta have a mind that you can forget stuff, and you turn around and you play the next play. And that's good corners do that because you're going to get balls caught. Things are going to happen, but then you're going to make great plays. You're going to make great tackles and shut some people down. And that's what makes a great corner. And we've got them. We just need to make sure we're lined up. If you're not lined up right, you can't play, right?
Yeah.
So we got to get lined up right. And I thought we did most of the time today. As long as we keep our eyes out of the backfield, that's every team does it, but keep your eyes out of the backfield. You're usually in the right place.
I'm curious, and I'm sorry for interrupting you there, G. I'm just curious on if you're a defensive coordinator and you're scheming for like a John Mateer, what is it about him that is it just the obvious things, like he's just the athletic part of it, he can throw it, or like what about his game is the most challenging, you think, for defensive coordinators to see?
Anytime you have a running quarterback, it's a challenge because you get an extra blocker in the box. And then what he's doing, he's spreading everything out. And so you're spreading, you're having to move your defense and spread it out to have less people to be able to defend him. And if you keep them in there, if you'll notice, they throw the ball. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he's reading it. He's looking, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to run a quarterback counter. Are we going to run? You know, if they're going to cover, come in here and try to stop the run, then they're going to go outside and throw to, outside. So it's tough. And I think if we'd have been healthy up front, I think he would have really had a big game because we'd have got it all blocked up. And you know how he runs. And sometimes I think this game they were trying not to have to run him as much because they don't want to get him hurt. He's probably frustrated because he's competitive. He wants to run, but I thought the coordinator did great. He did some stuff that I've always wanted to see Oklahoma do. Those little trick plays he was doing, and one of them was wide open. If they hadn't called timeout, we'd have scored. Oh my God! And we would have scored. Those are kind of things that all defensive coordinators, when they're playing Oklahoma, they've got to, I got to work on this. And it takes time away from the things Oklahoma does best. So you do kind of do all those kind of things to make people work on this, like the play. Now they're going to have to watch.
Yeah.
How about to make sure he actually goes off the field.
So it's in the back of your head. You got to think, but you can't defend ghosts as a defensive coordinator. You got to defend things that they actually do, and that if you do that, and then sometimes they'll get you. You have to have an offense that keeps you off the field, so you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
And you had mentioned one part of the game they had like 8 minutes of rest. The defense did for just running clock. I mean, and you mentioned not defending goats. How about that new formation that they ran out of where the linemen are at the receiver, the exit position over there? And you're like, well, now I mean that's a whole block of practice just to get a line to that correctly.
And John didn't read that right. Is that the one where he
had? Yeah, dude, Burks was wide open in the middle. If he just looks up now, it's easy for us to say, well, I'm half a French's corn dog deep, and, and a Coke in my hand to say, throw it deep. It's obvious. I'm not about to get hit by 300-pound dudes. And he did complete like an 8-yard pass. I think Satanga underneath. But I mean, it was wide open. But, not ended up being a positive play.
You had
regardless.
just mentioned the offensive or the pass interference earlier. I was like, oh yeah, like us getting offensive pass interference on an out route.
Oh my gosh,
that was terrible.
Well, the second one, I think,
again, that would have been points for us.
Yeah, it would have been
at least a field goal.
I agree.
BB mentioned and tell me, well, Ian mentioned that he's like, well, the second one, it was a pick. We were trying to be behind the line, so that was he's like, the first one, he's like, he's running his route. Like, you're allowed to run a route on there. He goes, and also, we teach our DBs to be not stacked, not on the same level, so you don't get picked. He goes, they were lined up right by each other, and we're running it out in a slant, and they just ran into each other. You're like, that happens. Yeah, and so he's like, that's where I was mad.
It was a bad call.
Stagger. I think he called it.
You never, when you look over and you're even, you got to step back or forward.
For that reason?
For that reason, yeah. Especially if you're manned up, because you will get picked. It's going to happen.
All right. Well, I think unless anyone has any questions, we're going to go try to find some dinner. I'm starving. Yeah. I know we're all starving. Just one more. Appreciate you guys and gals. I don't get on these much, but I'm a huge Rangers fan. Hey, so are we? We're big Rangers fans. So I need to go back to yelling at my TV for a while. Thanks for the posts and calls, especially with Coach. Love learning from you all. Thanks. We all learn. I've learned a ton from my dad. So 77 that's Ozida, isn't it? For OU? Tripping? I'm pretty sure 77 is Ozida. Heath Ozida. So I print one of these bad boys or get one of these, the media guide for 2025. I think it is Heath Ozida. I'm looking.
I'll be honest. This year's the numbers are really throwing me off.
Well, it's also not in order. Number order.
I was saying Heath Ozida, number 77.
Yeah, look at that. There it is. Look at that. That's straight off the dome right there.
Like the numbers are real. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'm not getting the numbers as quickly as I normally do. I'll blame the baby.
Hopefully, some wings.
I'll blame the baby.
Yeah. No, and they make that. Clement makes that point that I'm making earlier. You won't see another receiving. The closest will be Alabama. They're very talented, especially if Ryan Williams keeps figuring it out. He has such good body control. It's insane. The way he's able to stop on a dime is
just still got a lot of games before that.
Unreal. But final thoughts, really. Look, you get a win. It didn't look great on offense. I do think a little bit of that is exacerbated by the fact you're injured up front. If you're not able to block because you're on one ankle, it's going to make you look worse. I think John had some throws he wants back. At the end of the day, again, we say winners win. Heisman moments are, I need to drive here to score. I need to drive to score. Can you stop me? And no, you couldn't. Yeah. And that throw we had to Satanga, the catch was awesome. But that's unreal. That kind of accuracy is just, you dropped it in a bucket, So for me, it's like I'm encouraged because you had to win a game where you didn't play your best. And championship teams win those games. Exactly. How many times do we remember seeing like Alabama or Georgia win those games where it's like, this team doesn't look that good. They're barely beating, some BS, and then they get in the playoff. You're like, oh, okay. You realize it.
And we're just going to get better. That's the thing that I see that our team, I think our offense is really going to get better. We get healthy, and we're going to be a problem. And I know we got a tough schedule, but I think our mindset's different from what we're used to as OU fans. You know what I mean? And I think our mindset's different, and the leadership of the team, the cheer, and the guys on defense. I don't think there's a game they're going to go into and say, oh, we can coast here. I don't think they have that mindset this year. It's a mindset of we're going to go win a national championship, and that's our mindset. Whether we do or not, they're going to play like that.
Yeah. I feel like defensive teams kind of have that mindset, right? Like Saban had it, Kirby Smart's had it. It seems to me at least. John Mateer extends his streak to 11 games of a touchdown run and touchdown pass. So, that's an insane – maybe 10th. It might be 10. But still, a double-digit streak of one touchdown run, one touchdown pass. That's insane. But, yeah, T, any final thoughts? I feel like
I'm just honestly
I'm glad you came. We all know if we could have done everything by ourselves. We'll try to have them on after games if they can make it. The late games will be tough.
My final thought is an ugly win is still a win.
There you go.
So there you go.
And sometimes you figure out how to make those. All right, you guys rock. Auburn loses. Oklahoma gets the win. A big time victory. I don't think any other way to put it against a team that has a lot of talent and one that I think you got to be excited about for Oklahoma, especially to learn from. You get a bye week this week. You get another basically scrimmage against Kent State. People always are like, don't say that about it. I don't play. I can say the team doesn't need to think that. I can think that. Okay? We can think that.
They prepare for them like they're playing Texas. I mean, I know that sounds funny, but you have to.
You have a routine.
You always prepare that way.
Because also, if you're preparing lackadaisical, that's when you get like weird injuries.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
yes.
you don't do that.
Yeah.
No.
Now, I also don't want to see some of these guys get beat up over the break. I mean, give them some rest, BB. Like, let's not beat them up. Let's get them healthy, get them back.
Be smart about it, I think.
Yep. Awesome. We had 600 people watch. You guys rock. Thank you so much for taking some time listening to our opinions and listening to Coach here. Yeah, absolutely. We'll try to have them on after more games, if we can. So we have our show Monday, right? Make sure to listen to Josh. He has his reaction show in the morning. He couldn't make it tonight because he felt a little under the weather. But again, we have our show Monday at 7 Central. We'll react to this game, talk a little bit about it's a bye week. We might just
talk about whatever we want.
Talk about how bad Arch Manning is. I'm kidding. But yeah, so we'll see y'all Monday. If you're driving home, drive safe. God bless you all, and we will hopefully come back to a Sooner victory after Kent State and then move on to OU Texas. All right. Boomer.
Sooner.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click Join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.